Hello and welcome back to our discussion on the skeletal system. Today we're going to talk bone functions and the types of levers found in your body. So at the end of this video, you'll be able to list the 4 functions of bone. I want to change to my highlighter. You'll be able to provide examples of how our bones support and protect our organs. You'll be able to explain the difference between the 3 classes of levers. Identify the location in the body for each of the type of lever, and name 3 common inorganic substances stored in bone. So that's the goals for today. So let's get started. First off, bone has 4 main functions. 1 is to support and protect, 2 is movement, 3 is blood cell formation, 4 is inorganic salt storage. So support and protect I think makes a lot of sense. That's what our bones do. That's why your brain is housed within your skull, your heart's housed within your chest. Everything is protected there. Movement, we have to use muscles to move our bones, but they allow us to move and walk and all that sort of stuff. Blood cell formation, we talked about. Blood cells are produced in your red marrow, which is found in your regular bones and flat bones of your body. And we have inorganic salt storage, which we'll talk about today. So support and protect. We talked a little bit. Your skull protects your eyes, your brain, and your ears. Your ribs and sternum protect your heart and lungs. Your spine protects your spinal cord, and your pelvis protects your bladder and reproductive organs. Those are all vital functions of bone for you. In terms of movement, bones allow for muscular attachment and allow us to move. Bones articulate or connect to form joints. This is where articular cartilage comes in, as they articulate. And there are, they form what we know as levers. And there are 4 components to a lever. So if we're going to let's look at a teeter-totter, which is a very good example. Which is our weight. So we have a ridge or a bar, and that's this piece here. There's a fulcrum or pivot point, which is here. There's an object moved or resistance, so this is going to be my resistance. And there's going to be a force, which is going to be here. We're going to talk about the different types of levers and differences between levers on the next slide. There are 3 classes of levers. The first one is a first class, which is like a scissors or a teeter-totter. So I just drew it for you. I'll draw a flat one this time. Resistance at one end. So this is my R, my resistance. You have a fulcrum in the middle, which is here, and you have a force on the other end. So these 3 pieces are going to be present in all of your levers. Seesaw or teeter-totter is an example. Your elbow works as a very good one of these. Your elbow extension, when you extend your elbow out, so you go from this position to this position, you went this way, you extended your elbow. And we'll look at some more of these too. Your second class lever is like a wheelbarrow. So think of a wheelbarrow. It's got a fulcrum on one end. You have a load in the middle. So this is going to be my resistance. Fulcrum, resistance, and then I'm going to exert my force on the other end. So my resistance is between my fulcrum and my force. Examples in the body. The one I can think of is that can be counted as standing on your toes. So when you do calf raises and you stand, you go from this. Whoops, that was really poorly drawn. You go from standing here to standing here. You got smaller as well. But standing on your toes can create that second class lever in some cases. And really it's not a great one. A better one is going to be if I can't think of a better one. That's as close as I can get to a second class lever. I'm not sure it exactly qualifies, but it's close. Third class, think of tweezers. So tweezers, you have a fulcrum on one side. So here's wow. Good thing I'm not an artist. So here's your fulcrum. So this is going to be my fulcrum on this end. I'm going to put my force here, and my resistance is going to be on the end. This is the most common type of lever in the body. This is what our bodies use more than anything. It's the least efficient type of lever. So if you think about it, it makes zero sense. If you had to lift this up, you would not put the resistance on the end. You would not lift from the middle for a fulcrum there. You would flip it and put your force and your resistance in opposite locations. But this is how our bodies work, kind of as a means to work, a means to function. It's really the only way we can make it happen. All your hinges in the body are class 3. They're very inefficient, but they get the job done. They do what they can. Here is some examples. So first class, you have a lever, you have pliers, you have a wheel, a teeter-totter, seesaw, all that. Second class, wheelbarrow, nutcracker. Third class, you do curls. It's a third class lever because this muscle here, your bicep muscle, attaches down here. So you have your fulcrum, you have your force, you have your resistance. We can also use sugar tongs to do the same thing, same kind of deal. If we're talking blood cell formation, so again, this happens in red blood cells, this happens in red marrow. But we have what's called hemopoiesis. Hemo refers to blood, poiesis refers to production. So this is blood production. Happens in your marrow, specifically your red marrow, because yellow stores fat. So your red marrow is red because it contains hemoglobin, and hemoglobin can be split into hemo means blood, globin means protein. So this is your blood protein, which carries oxygen within blood cells, and that's why your blood cells are red. That's why your blood is red. Your primary red marrow, your primary blood cell formation sites are flat bones of the skull, the flat bones of the ribs and sternum, your clavicles, your vertebrae, which are irregular, and your pelvis, which is irregular. So your flat and irregular bones are the production site for blood. It's your red marrow site. The last function of bone was inorganic salt storage. So salts account for roughly 70% of the weight of bones. Primarily, we have calcium and phosphorus. These are your two big ones, which form calcium phosphate, also known as hydroxyapatite. But if your body processes are deficient or low in calcium, your body will take it from bones and use it elsewhere. And this is where osteoporosis comes in. That your body just doesn't retain the calcium it needs. And so that is where osteoporosis comes from. Other inorganic salts that we need in our body are magnesium, sodium, and carbonate. Those can also be found in the body. They can combine with calcium and phosphorus in some cases to be used elsewhere and for other purposes. Here are some review questions for you. Again, pause the video, work through these. If you have questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to work through them with you. Otherwise, I look forward to continuing our discussion when you return, and I will see you next time.